you. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, Wendy. Good to see you.
Always good to see you. How are
Thank
you
you so
guys?
much for joining, Wendy. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Jessica, as well. Everybody that has been a guest on here and shared so graciously. We are doing this to obviously help actors and answer whatever questions that are out there, but also to support the Entertainment Community Fund, a wonderful organization that helps out entertainment professionals in times of need. Including emergency financial assistance when they need it, which unfortunately a lot of people are needing right now because of multiple strikes going on and a lot of people are out of work. So we've already raised $1,800. People have continued to donate during the day. So
wow.
That's really cool. So please, if you have the means, continue to donate to the Entertainment Community Fund. And if you don't have the means to donate, just be here with us and support us and share the live stream. Appreciate anything that you can do. I'm going to tell you, Wendy, just as I've told everybody else when we come on, we do have a AMPTP swear jar. It says kimchi on it, but it is not kimchi. So it's not a real swear jar. You can say as many curse words as you want.
That's good because you'll have a hard time curbing me of that.
But if you do say the name of any struck project, then we are going to have to put your name into the swear jar. You can see we have a couple of people that have.
Oh, did they really? Yeah, no, I won't be talking about them.
So we won't say the names, and it's not just current projects, right? So any project that was made by a struck company, either now or in the past, we cannot say the name. I feel lucky that I have not accidentally let one. I'm sure. I mean, I still got 7 more hours to go, so I'm sure it'll happen at some point. So we got a Rob donated. And Wendy Alane Wright donated to the Entertainment Community Fund. Thank you so much. So, let's dive into some of these questions. Here's one that I saw from earlier that I think is one that comes up a lot. So,
hi, everybody. I didn't say hi. I see you in the chat. Hi, Brad. Hi, No BS Online Moneymaker for real.
Yeah.
Hey, Lil Fear. Hey, G-Top. Hey, Kim. Great to see you guys, and I'm so glad that you asked me, Kurt. I mean, I'm always blown away by the amount you give back to the acting community, and I've been watching you for over a decade when you used to do small market actor, when you were living in Cleveland, booking network television. I was like, that guy's amazing, and I love how committed you have always been to giving actors truth, guidance, resources, facts, and you're super freaking talented, and you're a hustler, and you're a winner, and I freaking love everything about you. And I love that you came from Jessica's hood, because Jessica's the best Meisner teacher in the world, and so if you were able to get in through her school, which every actor who wants to study Meisner should, it's an amazing opportunity. And we're going to be there together next week. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're all going to be together next week. This week.
This week. Couple days. Yeah.
Super lucky though, right? Because I've told this story before. Like when I was looking, I wasn't looking for acting classes to begin with. It just happened to come across it, and then on top of that, I didn't know what the heck Meisner was. Like I didn't care. Like I just didn't know anything about it, and Jessica could have been a scam for all I knew. But me and my buddy were like, "Oh, cool, an acting class. Let's check it out."
That's awesome.
And just got really lucky that it turned out to be just a wonderful place, and just completely changed my life.
First foray into acting was like one of the best Meisner classes in schools in the world. Isn't that lucky? Like you avoided all of the nonsense.
Well, second, my first foray was in 4th grade when I played a horse in a play. So maybe I should give some credit to, but I don't even remember the name of the director of the play, so I can't give them credit. So we'll just have to only give credit to them.
That's funny.
But so Outlander has a question. Do directors like it when actors improvise? It's a loaded question, Mr. or Mrs. Outlander, whoever you are. And one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure I answered this was because I see some answers in the chat that I do not agree with. So let's make sure we get the correct info out there, which is there's no hard and fast rule here. certain directors, because you got to remember, directors, when you say directors, they're not robots. They're all human beings, and all human beings have their preferences, and all human beings have certain things that they like or don't like. So you're going to run into directors and writers and producers on certain projects that may not like improvisation, and you're going to run into directors and writers and producers of other projects that love it, that would encourage it, right? And you may not know this going into the project, and sometimes you'll have to learn as you go. You might have to test the waters. You might have to see what other actors are doing on set. You may find out through the course of your career that certain casting directors might like it or might not like it, and you tailor what you're doing based on them. What I've done in my career is I've found that certain times when I've improvised, it has helped me a lot. So I no longer think about it in terms of what a director might like or what a producer or a casting director might like. I'm going to do what I like, as long as it serves the story and serves the script, and I'm not just doing it from an ego standpoint. Like, don't improvise from an ego standpoint. Don't improvise to serve the story so that you know that it still fits the character and fits the story. And this is where script analysis and all that stuff comes into play. So it's not like a really simple answer here. But I saw some people saying in the chat that no, directors don't like it. Plenty of directors love it.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when I've improvised. There was a story. I'm going to tell the story, but I can't say the name of the project. So, but there was a movie that I auditioned for where I said a line. It was only one line. The role had only one line, but I added a second line because it made sense to me, and I wasn't doing it from an ego standpoint. It made sense. It made sense for the character to say it. So I said it for the audition, and then I got a call back. In person. Oh no, it was all in person. This was pre-pandemic, so it was in person. I did not ask for permission when I went into the casting director's office. I said the line that was written, and then I said the line that I improvised, and the casting director was like, "Okay, cool, great." Didn't comment even on it that it was the additional line, and then I booked the job, then went on set. And when I arrived on set, the director said to me, "What was that thing that you said in your audition?" I told him. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, loved it. Say that again." So the line made it into the movie, and there's multiple times when that has happened as well. But also there are times when they don't want you to say it. So you can't predict it. You can't read people's minds. So just do what feels right for you.
Something I always share with my students is, I've seen with these interviews that I watch often, actors will talk. Anthony Hopkins just recently said in an interview that I watched, he said, the first thing I do when I get a script is I devour the lines. He said he reads it 200 times, the entire script.
Wow.
He devours the lines, and he says, so that way I can be free and improvise if it's needed and welcomed. So, we hear this often. You first have to have the lines down, like Kurt said. And then in the moment, if something happens, if we have the lines down, we can be free, and then we can improvise off of what's happening in the moment. And those are the best moments that, come, I feel like, when we're able to improvise. And we hear that on and on with so many different actors. I'm not going to talk about films, but I know, Robin Williams had talked about, there's a couple films where he was like, I was able to improvise, but first we had to do the lines 3 or 4 times exactly the way it was, and then they let me have fun and play. So know that you need to know your lines, but you should be able to, if something happens in the moment, we don't want to ignore it. We want to be able to improvise, and most of the time that's what gets in the film.
And that's where some of the magic is, right? In
Yes,
unexpected
I agree.
moments.
Yeah.
I think that an actor's responsibility is to be able to do either or, to be able to go word perfect if that's what this production wants. Because some directors absolutely want word perfect, like Aaron Sorkin or whoever. Or certain jokes need to be word perfect because that's how they land. But then there are times when they want to see you improvise. And some shows have like improv as that's the whole basis of the show, and it's a 30-minute show. It's not any. It's really hard not to say. It's really hard not to say shows names. How funny! But something show. The entire show is basically improvisation. So you really should be a master of improv, so that when you need it, it's there, and when you don't, you don't. But study both, I'd say. Wouldn't you agree, Jess?
Yes, totally agree, 100%.
And don't just take one class, you guys. I mean, I know we're talking to smart people here, right? So when we say study improv, it means like immerse yourself in the art of improv and not just take level 1, but if it offers 5 levels, take all 5 and get really, really, really good at it. And then go to another school and start at level 1, take all 5 there, you know, all 5 at UCB, all 5 at Second City, all 5 at Groundling. I mean, really master it if sitcom acting is where you're trying to go. Don't just dabble, folks. Dabbling is not your friend.
I agree.
Right. All right. So, I'm trying to scroll through some of the questions here.
You know, as you scroll through, I'll say, I can't say this enough. You guys should be watching YouTube videos, interviews on how the actors achieve their roles, because you're going to get a lot of these answers right there. Like Joaquin Phoenix talks about a film that he did. And again, I don't want to talk about what it is, but he improvised so many of the scenes, and it's one of his best films. It's a phenomenal film, but he once again said he was able to play. He was up all night long with the director, all night for hours and hours, you know, just having fun and playing. But once again, he knew the lines, he said, but he was able to just have time to be able to be free and improvise. So watch your favorite actors' interviews, because I think it will help you guys, inspire you. But also learn a bit about what they do to achieve these roles, which is not, you know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
If you want to find ways to hint at the movie or the show, that's totally fine. I've talked about the karate show that I worked on before, so like as long as we're not saying the name, it doesn't go into
Someone said something which I'm wondering too. What I said earlier with Anthony Hopkins, the film. I'm not going to say it again. Does that go in the jar? Because I said.
Oh, you did say it. Oh no, you didn't say it.
Did you? She said Anthony Hopkins movie, didn't she?
I said it before that. Then I realized, oh crap, I said that earlier.
It's hard, isn't it, to not say what we
notice. Yeah, and it's just like it goes one ear and out the other too. You don't even notice.
Don't even notice you're doing it.
Yeah, I know. I do.
How much does she find? How much does she have to pay?
I gotta write your name down, or letting people you decide on your own.
Well, I'm gonna donate anyways, but I don't know if that'll be a separate thing or whatever. I have Essex has her teacher meeting, meet the teacher.
By the way, can I interrupt and tell you something about Essex art show? That was so beautiful. That she had didn't she have an art show and at school, and she did her own art for the first? Oh no, it wasn't Essex.
Oh, no, she did. Essex did Walk Like an Egyptian. For the talent show. That's what I did. If that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And she practiced her butt off here for so long. She went in front of the entire school, and she did so well to the point where like teachers would come up to me. She said she'd walk in the hallway, and like the 5th graders, she's in 3rd grade, would go, "That girl doing Walk Like a Magician was the best one," and she was like, "Yes." But we practiced daily. Like it was a daily thing.
Well, are you excited about having a little performer? I mean, coming up in the business.
She loves it. Yeah, she loves all of it, dancing and all
She's
of it.
beautiful.
So,
Your daughter's beautiful. I can't wait to. Will I see her when we come?
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe our girls' day, she can come for part of it, or Thursday night she might come as well. So we'll definitely see her.
I'll grab her and hold her and don't let her go.
Oh, cute.
Well, you said we could talk about anything, Kurt, so I want to talk about Essex.
I don't want to bogart the time, but Wendy knows that we just lost Kurt knows too, we just lost our dog of 12 years, which was like so hard for all of us, like really, really difficult. But we weren't planning on adopting another dog, and yesterday this dog popped up on my screen on one of the rescues, and she was a puppy mill dog. So I don't know if anyone knows any of that, but she's left in a cage for 2 to 3 years of her life, and she was just basically let out when she was gonna have the babies, and that's it. And we have her in our house now. She's a golden retriever, and I've never had a dog like this. She's so timid. The only person that she's kind of approaching is me, but she wants to go in the corner. She wants to be in closed doors because she's so used to. So Kurt, you'll meet her on Thursday, but she's like a little lover, and so she has to eat out of my hands. She's like 65 pounds, but she won't eat unless it's out of my hands. But we got another dog.
Good, Jess.
So.
Yeah, you guys have too much love not to get another dog.
That's what we said. For the babies, I feel bad.
I'm so happy for you.
She'll accept the love soon. She just doesn't know how to because she's never had love before. So, but we have so much of it, so she's gonna get love.
So true. That girl's gonna be just fine.
I'm excited. What's his name? Her name?
So we named her Noobers.
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 Yeah.
What's it mean?
So it's an interesting name. Our names, my husband always comes up with them, like Essick is my name minus the J and the A. Newbers is sort of like New Bursey. Our old dog was Bursey, so Newbers. So it's not Newbers,
I
but
get
Newbers.
it.
So
That's
it's
so
like,
fun.
Yeah.
Newbers.
So,
Great.
yeah. Sort of like a tribute to Bursey in a way.
Yeah.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah. She's sweet.
Aw, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, someone said hi to Siren. So
Oh yeah. I don't know where.
Siren is so beautiful, that cat, I swear.
Thank you.
did you say you have to leave now, Jessica, or you're?
What time is it? Probably in like 5 minutes, I would say.
Okay, so let's pull up another question here. Bob says, I know this question has been beaten to death, but your opinion, how does trying to start a career in film and TV differ for a newbie between LA, New York? Is LA slightly quote unquote easier? And I'll before anybody else answers, I will say that now you really should be also asking, if you're talking about big markets, you got to include Atlanta in there, because Atlanta is a huge market. More movies are filmed in Georgia in some years than in California. So if you don't know about Atlanta, you really should.
Yeah. Absolutely. Who wants to take it?
So yeah, Wendy, I'm sure you get this question a lot from like, what start in LA or start in New York, or what should they do?
Listen, I think the process of building your craft can be done from wherever you live. It can be done online, training with amazing coaches like Jessica Houde or Margie Haber in LA or Anthony Mindell in New York or at London or wherever. I mean, you should just train, and you don't have to move to any of those places. And when you're talking about getting a start to me is always training, okay? And then when it comes down to getting your first co-star credits, you really need to have some solid acting clips. I always say you don't need a whole demo reel to get started, because managers today, we can look at a great clip and see if you can act your ass off. I have to swear jar? Act your ass off or not.
That's fine.
Act your ass off or not. We can tell just by looking at 20 seconds of a self-tape if you have any ability to act and if you're really connecting with the other reader. And you can be creating those self-tapes or demo reels, whatever you want to do, from wherever you live before you ever move to any kind of big market. I just feel like get your ducks in a row before you make the move. And then you're going to be starting with not knowing anybody, if you don't know anybody in New York, Atlanta, or LA. So having the ability to network with people is a skill you need to develop, whichever market you're going to be in. And if you don't know how to develop that skill or don't have that skill, it's going to be hard no matter where you go. So I think learning to talk with people, build relationships with people you meet on sets, stay in touch with people, all those stuff, those are tools you're going to use in any of the markets. And the bigger the market is, the more competition there is. The more actors there are to get those jobs. So you got to get good at the tools of being an actor first, I think. And then when it just comes down to the basics, like where should I live? I think California is very expensive. So if you're going to live in California, then and you are young, you might have a couple roommates, if you don't mind hanging out with two people in your room and some bunk beds, you guys could do really well. If you're older and you're used to living on your own, you may have to make some sacrifices to have a roommate. But Los Angeles itself is like $1,800 to $2,400 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. And if you want to buy a house, it's like $1 million. So if you're in Atlanta, the price is different. It's going up, but it's nowhere near that. My friend Amber Bohawk bought a house for about $360,000 right outside of Atlanta. There's so many suburbs outside of Atlanta that are affordable. Rent is more affordable. Housing is more affordable, buying. But then you have to remember that then New York is extremely expensive unless you live in Jersey and you go across and take the train in. That can be less expensive. But I think you have to analyze it more like what's the weather you want to live in my opinion. Like, do you want winter? Because if you don't mind the cold, you can live in New Jersey, get to New York, be a local hire, or live in Connecticut and be a local hire in New York. You're going to get snow and you're going to have a cold, and then you got humidity. We don't have that in California. In Atlanta, it's very humid and there's a little more bugs. A little more bugs if you don't mind them. I don't like bugs. I cannot stand mosquitoes. So that's another. You just think of the downsides. What are those? The traffic is hell in California. And we have the beautiful beaches. And we have beautiful mountains. So I think you've got to figure out where do you want to live your life and what's the lifestyle you want to have. And whichever one you pick, just hustle your ass off and make it happen no matter where you go. That's my thought.
I pretty much, I was going to say similar. My thought is work in your own area where you're at right now, because honestly, if you go to a big city and you've never been on a set before, that's a problem. So why not do different independent films where you're at, start to learn the lingo, do industrials, make a little money, build your resume up, and then go into the, a bigger city. And like Kurt said, build a community of actors that you can have do self tapes with, read for you. I think it's important where you're at, because you ideally would know a lot of those people. And then you would move at that point. So that's what I would recommend.
You should look at Kurt. He did this exact same thing. He's a perfect example. He built his career in the Midwest market first, Cleveland or Chicago area, that kind of stuff, and then got all of his first co-star credits and stuff from working, training, building his career right where he was until he was able to go to a bigger market, and now he's killing it there too. But that's because he's a beast. He knows he's a beast. He knows how to work. He has a work ethic. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, my commercial, because all I had was a commercial demo reel. So my commercial demo reel from Cleveland, from doing local commercials there, is what got me my agent in Atlanta. And if I didn't do that work starting out in Cleveland, just came to Atlanta, just said, all right, I'm going to start here. It would have been however many years it would have taken to get that off the ground before I would have been able to get an agent in the first place. So it absolutely helps in that way. And as far as like, is LA easier? I don't know if LA is easier than anywhere. LA is probably the hardest place to break in. I mean, LA is the epicenter, so you got probably more opportunity there than anywhere else. But as far as getting started, there's also more people trying to do it there. So it certainly isn't. It certainly isn't easier than anywhere else.
But I will say also, there's no competition for who you are. Okay, if you are interesting, and everyone here will agree, if you're interesting, and you leverage getting the manager. Like I've been a manager for many years. I was an agent before that. Like if I found you at some place and I thought, oh my God, this actor is amazing, you are leveraging all my connections, all the years I've been here, all the casting directors I know, all the agents and people I know, and I can move things along faster than if you just landed here on your own, didn't have relationships. So you should be building as many industry relationships as you can.
And classes, maybe if you want in-person classes, I would think they might be cheaper. I know for Kurt, he was able to study 8 years with me, and it was much more affordable than going to Atlanta and taking classes there, learning a technique, especially with only in person.
Yeah.
That being said, Essex is going to be having a meltdown because we're meeting her teacher between 5 and 6, so it's already 5:20, so she's going to be like, "Mom, we're going to miss it." So
all
I
right.
gotta go.
Thanks for being here, Jessica. I'm going to put the Houde School of Acting website in the chat. Anybody wants to check out the Houde School of Acting?
I can't recommend that more if I tried. I send a lot of people to Jess, and her prices are really, really good, and you get a lot for your money, and you get like great Meisner training. You really should check her out, and you'd be mistaken if you didn't.
I'd be happy to have y'all.
Hey, will I get to see the new dog while I'm there, Jess? Do you think?
I'm trying. I was thinking of that. That's why the conversation I brought it up. Maybe if you bring it to my house, because I think she's so timid to come to like the cookout or anything. Yeah. She's very.
I'll come over for 30 minutes and I'll see the dog, and then we'll go do our girl day.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Let's do it.
All right, love you.
All right, well, I'll see you both soon in a couple of days.
Woo-hoo!
Bye, everyone. Thanks for having me. Bye, Kurt.
Thank you, Jessica, for being here.
Thank you.
Always a pro. Always beautiful. Love her. Don't you just love her?
It's amazing. I mean, how lucky, right? And I don't know if I've told you this story, because obviously, I wasn't looking for an acting class. I found a place that I wanted to go to after work just for fun. But also, it just happened to be like 10 minutes away from where I lived. Had it been like 35 minutes away, I would have looked at it and said, "Oh, cool, an acting class." Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna drive 35 minutes to go to do some random thing just to have some shits and giggles, right? So I wasn't looking at it as a career at that point. So it just happened to work out so well, and it's got lucky, really, really lucky that it happened to find her.
It's like the universe all aligned for you to follow your purpose.
Yep.
Oh, All aligned.
Totally. Okay, let's see if we got more questions here that we can answer.
Look at this one that says, love you. May you guys give me the courage to do this.
Wonderful.
You can do this.
Yes.
Yes. I want you to think about having realistic goals though. Like whenever I talk to an actor, if you want to be a famous star, that's fine. You can have that goal. But my job is like, let me get you started acting, or let's get classes, let's get headshots and your acting clips, and then let's get you submitted for indie projects and student films and short films, and let's keep training and let's build relationships and then keep going one step at a time. And you can do that. If some of those projects end up to get some magic around them, great. But let's get working, At least you can do that, Jatov. Everybody, you can do that.
I can't find the question now, but I know that I saw it from earlier, and it's a question that comes up all the time, and we haven't addressed it yet today. So if you want to share your thoughts, Wendy, on someone's acting, what should they consider when they're thinking about joining the union, joining SAG-AFTRA? What should an actor consider before joining?
That's a great question, Kurt. And to you who asked it, my thoughts about it is the union is an extraordinary and important organization that should be in place to protect actors, because if you don't have it, it's the Wild West, and people will try not to pay actors. They will try to use your image forever. They'll try to pay the least amount of money. So at least SAG-AFTRA has a standard that they have to pay you. There are safety protocols in place that have to be met. So we need a union. But if you're a new actor, I do not recommend joining the union at any time in the near future, unless you absolutely have to. And the reason I say that is that when you're a new actor and you don't have any co-star credits or guest star credits, you are a very hard sell. You're a very hard sell. And if you join the union right away, you're going to be competing with people that have TV credits and history of relationships of casting, and they've proven their work ability, and you are just not going to be seen. You're not going to be seen, right? So if you stay non-union, you can get short films, student films, web series. Some of those non-union films will fly you to Zimbabwe. You could be staying on location for a month shooting a film. You're getting experience. You're learning what to do on set. You're developing that confidence, that resume, and you are becoming a professional. And then you are still allowed to audition for SAG projects, and most of which you're not going to get because you don't get most of the projects we audition for anyway. So you'll be getting auditions with SAG projects and SAG casting directors, etc. And then you're going to book one. And you're allowed to book one and still stay doing all the non-union stuff. I think you're allowed to book 2 or 3. Is that it, Kurt? Something like that? And then
after your first one, you become eligible. After your second one, you have what they call an OK 30. So within the next 30 days, you can book as many as you want without having to become a must join. And then you become a must join before your third.
Before your third one. So when you are station 12, what they do is they call and they say, is this person okay to bring on today? No, they're okay. They're still in the 30-day period. So you can hire them without paying the penalty. Once that 30-day passes on your second job and you've booked the third co-star on something or guest star or SAG commercial, whatever it is, you can't show up to set unless you've paid for SAG. And so start putting money aside so that you'll be ready for that. And they also have loans. If you do it through the SAG-AFTRA credit union, you can finance it. But the sweet spot is, everything you can up until that last moment where you have to pay before you go on set. And you want to make that decision based on it being something worth giving up all the other non-union work you can do. So if it's one line in a commercial, maybe don't join for that. If it's a co-star on Fire FBI,
something.
Fireblood.
I'm gonna look that up to see if it's a real show. It could be.
In 1936. If it's a co-star on some show, then and you're really ready for a co-star, then you might join for that reason. But don't join just to join, because it's not going to serve you in the long run. And then the other side of that is anything any of us ever say, the exact opposite can be done and work fabulously in your favor. That's the beautiful thing about this business is there's no one way, no one story. Every story, everybody can get in there 1,000 different ways, and we can tell you no today, and someone will do the exact opposite and have results. But I think what we tell you is general consensus, what we all pretty much agree on based on years and years of experience. It's best to wait until you're at that must absolutely join status. Would you agree or disagree?
100%. I just want to add the caveat of depending on the market, right? Atlanta being a right to work state, Georgia being a right to work state, a lot of states in the South being right to work. Then you do have the added, I'll call it a benefit because it really is of there's no must join status here. So people can kind of ride the fence for a little bit longer. The union here doesn't, to their credit, doesn't pressure people and support the union that does support us.
Absolutely.
Because even as a non-union actor, I was a non-union actor for 3 or 4 years, treated as a union actor. You get all of the benefits of the union actor, even if you are non-union. And the union fights for you just as hard because you're working on that union set. You do have that opportunity if you were in a right to work state to wait longer if needed. But it still benefits, I think. There are so many benefits eventually at some point in your career where it's going to make sense.
And there's a lot of right to work states. I think there's like 29 or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but there's a
it's a little bit more than half. I think a little bit more than half of the states. So let's see.
Let's see what you got in here. Let's look at you guys. So many people here with you.
153 watching live right now.
Wow! Hi everybody.
Yeah. Since online auditioning became more popular, or is it just difficult as face-to-face? I don't think it's necessarily easier or harder. It's just different. We just have to kind of adapt to what's happening, where most everything is self-tape. I will say this, a lot of people don't know this, but for people that don't live or have not worked in the Southeast, in Atlanta and the Southeast market as a whole, self-taping has been a thing for a long time, for over a decade. It has been the main form of first round auditions for almost all movies and TV shows here in Atlanta, well before the pandemic. I would say 80% of auditions were self-taped in Atlanta. And then, so when the pandemic hit, we went from 80 to 100. So it wasn't as big of a shift for a lot of us here in Atlanta. For other markets, it was a much bigger shift because most things were in person. I will say, for me personally, I really like self-tape auditions for multiple reasons. You don't have to drive around everywhere. I know that, in LA, I've never lived and worked in LA, but I know the stories of people like just driving from audition to audition. You go, you spend all day out and you went to 3 auditions.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Just driving around town. And imagine saving all that time and being able to do it at home and having the creative freedom to do it at home. I like that part of it, but I am kind of a techie nerd and I like playing with cameras and lighting and all that stuff. And I get that there are a lot of people that don't and don't want to be the cinematographer and don't want to be all that. It's just like, can I just act? Right. But one thing I will say is that if you, it can benefit you to learn the basics of all that because it'll benefit you on set. It'll benefit you as an actor on set to know, what does it mean that they're using a 100mm lens as opposed to a 35mm lens? You don't have to even look at the framing to know that, this is probably how I'm going to look on that camera. This probably tells me how much movement I have to move around and all these things. And just understanding that whole filmmaking process, at least the basics of it, can be super beneficial. And I'll tell you, like, learning that for self-taping can be really beneficial as well. And it's not going away, guys. Self-taping is certainly not going away. I think casting directors that initially, pre-pandemic, that were opposed to it are now, seeing that the benefits of it. There are certainly drawbacks as well, but there are many benefits. So I think at least first round of auditions are going to be staying self-tape. I don't know. Is that what you're hearing, Wendy?
100%. And most casting directors that I know, and I have a lot of friends they prefer this. They prefer the self-taping environment because they can get through a lot more tapes and they can get through a lot more people. But in terms of that question, I want to also address, because you said so many great things there, Kurt, I want to add that what the magic in a self-tape is that you are connecting to the reader, okay? That you have created and that you are connected to your emotional life in the character. You're connected to why you're saying what you're saying and why you mean what you're saying and how you're trying to get the other actor to hear and understand what you're saying and reacting to what they're reacting to you. If they're not reacting to you, reacting about why they're not reacting. If they are reacting, how are you reacting to that? Because we're listening and reacting. And that can be done in person or in self-tape. If that element is missing in either place, you're not going any further in the audition anyway. So I think there's something about not worrying about things you can't control. Okay, you have absolutely no control over whether there's going to be self-tape auditions for 5 years or 50. Don't even worry about that. That's irrelevant, in my opinion. But put you on what is useful is the things you can control. Do you have a really good on-camera self-tape class that you're in that teaches you the subtlety if I'm coming in closer and I want to say something to you? Mm-hmm. Or am I pulling away? Or am I using the frame correctly? If my eye line is too far off or too up here or too... You really got to learn how to use this space. You can do a beautiful job that moves people deeply in a self-tape. Imagine every time you're sitting in a movie, you're just sitting in a big self-tape screen. Those people are making you feel and bleed and cry just by what they're doing on a little screen. Don't be afraid of the self-tape. You are an artist. You're telling a story through camera, and in your own home, it's you can book a series regular from your living room. Just be a good actor and mean what you're saying.
100%. 100% agree with all of that. Looks like we have another guest in the waiting room that we are going to bring on right now.
I'll let you guys.
Hello, Pippa Moss.
Pippa Moss.
Hello, everyone. How are you, Wendy?
Hey, how are you, girl? I like your kitchen.
Thanks. Welcome to my kitchen here in England.
Darling, it's so clean and perfect.
I know. It wasn't a little while ago. I made a curry and quite a mess as well. So.
We got to clean up for the live stream.
Yes, indeed. I thought I'd tidy up. If I turned my camera, you'd be horrified.
Yeah, exactly. This side of my place is perfectly clean, and that side of my place is not.
I think every actor knows that game, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, this is my self-tape Zoom spot where it's perfectly crisp.
Well, you hope they do. I mean, I was just looking at a monologue on Monologue Monday. I had like a rug in the back. I'm like, what has he got? Was that garbage? I can't even see. So I'm going to let you guys go. It's great to see you, Pippa. It's Kurt. Thank you so much for having me. I love you, and I love
Wendy.
everything you do, and I'll see you in a couple days.
We'll see you in a couple days.
Thank you for doing this for the family members and the people that are dealing with the strike and the loss of income. You are a freaking angel. And you are a huge asset to this acting community and one of my greatest inspirations. And I'm so proud to know you and be a friend. And I'm so proud to try to be more like you every day. That's what I do.
Right back at you, Wendy. Thank you so much.
I'll see you later. Love you guys. Bye.